Namaskaram, everyone. Welcome to the second episode of our new podcast series. And in this episode, we'll be talking all about one-click create tools. What are they and how they can be helpful for developer, as it can rapidly create high-quality models without that hassle of knowing the experience of modeling. To discuss this topic, we have a really special guest with us today, Danny K. He's the founder and CEO of VirtualeX. He's also the co-founder of Lit, and he's also a game developer and a designer. So I'll let him introduce himself now.
Hey, I'm Danny. My actual name is Sanjeev, but people call me Danny. And I have 7 years of experience in game development. After that, I started working at VirtualeX. Me and two other people started this company, and now it's around 22 people. I'm also co-founder of Lit, and that's it pretty much.
Yeah. Can you just also give us a bit brief of what both of your companies do and what?
Sure. So at VirtualX, we are random guys. We do everything. We do client services. We also have a few products. HomeX Engine, which is like a home customization product. We even have a few other VR games that we're working on. Later on, we are even going to release an electric vehicle. So we do random stuff, right? At Lit, we are working on a software for Apple Vision Pro that basically helps us broadcast games sports like NBA or cricket to the Apple Vision Pro in 3D. So that's basically what we do.
Yeah. So let's first set the context and understand what the one-click create tools are. Like in simple layman terms, what does it means?
Well, it's just making the process of 3D model creation more easier. That's the most lame you can go. There are many types of the one-click tools, right? One is to create the basic topology, and on top of that, to create the texture, right, based on the prompts that you give, and based on a lot of data set assets. One is to create the topology based on actual images, reference images or reference videos. One is to create an entire environment using existing 3D models, or just creating a new model. For example, monkey on top of a plane. You just take a monkey model, take an airplane model, put it on top, right?
Yeah.
So 3 types. This is a little bit in depth about the one-click tools.
So what is the importance of these tools, especially in the context of 3D modeling and especially for developers?
Well, especially for everybody that uses 3D models in any scale. I wish that the one-click tools were just better, honestly, right? That's one of the reasons why I started working on one-click tools, because when I tell my guys, my 3D modelers to make a model, it takes around 6 to 8 hours, and it's a manual task for them. I don't want them to sit down and make one model for 8 hours. That's physically excruciating.
Yeah.
It's not great. So I think in that way, one-click tools are like a game changer for everybody. CEOs,
Yeah.
developers, everybody.
So you mentioned that one-click create tools could be better. So what is the reason that they are not better yet?
Well, many reasons. One of the reasons could be that the results just aren't good enough, right? They're just unpolished looking. They're not. The textures are a little bit off sometimes. They just look a bit off. Us humans are different from whatever it is, right? So it's a little bit off. Second, we cannot do something very specific. When we are creating content, that includes virtual production stuff, movie stuff, or even games, we want everything to be very specific. I want this cup to be exactly like that cup, right? I want the logos on top to be exactly the same. That is not possible currently. And I think that's basically it. These are the major 2 factors that play an important role in taking one-click tools versus taking an actual 3D model. Yeah.
Now let's also discuss why is there a sudden trend or sudden increase that this need for this rapid 3D model creation has come up, because I don't think there was such a need before.
Many things, right? Apple Vision Pro is one of the reasons, right? Everybody is getting into 3D stuff. Even people actually want 3D websites for absolutely no reason, right? They just want to create stuff in 3D. They are bored with 2D or whatever. That's one of the reasons. Number two is, I mean, that's like the major reason. Everybody wants to get into 3D, right? In terms of games, virtual production, or like anything in general, right? Or customization tools, for example, cars and everything. But I think that's pretty much it. That pretty much sums up everything.
Yeah.
People who want to get in VR, more
Yeah.
research.
As we know that these tools can be really helpful for XR developers, but what is it? How is it relevant for other people who are not developers, who are in other fields?
Well, for virtual production, for example, right? That's also where I worked a little bit. So if you want to create a 3D environment from scratch, that takes what? At least a week. An environment the scale of this office will take like a month, right? To make it detailed. And major time goes into creating the individual elements, right? I need to create the flag, I need to create the plant, everything from scratch, right? I think all of this time can be stripped down if we just use the one click tool, right? We can create the entire office in like a week, and then we can focus on the development part. We can focus on more creative part. True. Rather than focusing on this just making the office.
Yeah.
Right.
So that developers can then focus on other stuff that needs their attention.
Yeah. Even today we use photogrammetry, right? Photogrammetry is also a part similar to a one-click tool, but not really. It takes more time and effort than a single-click tool, but it's similar. I think it's also a type of one-click tool either way. Yeah.
Let's also discuss a bit about challenges. So we also did a survey recently in our community where we asked them what is the most time consuming aspect of XR development, and they said that generating 3D models is much more time consuming for them.
Right.
So what are the other challenges that developers face as per se in the traditional 3D modeling process?
Getting the details right? Blending textures together. Those are some technical aspects. But also like creating animations, for example, right? Is also similar process to modeling, right? Like in modeling, setting the textures right, getting the logos right, getting all of this stuff specific to our needs is what takes more time. Creating a rock is not that hard, but creating a rock that has very specific details, or is it's from like a volcanic background, right? That takes more time to create. So I think specificity is our problem.
Okay. Now let's also talk a bit on the challenges part, but what are the limitations associated with implementing such tools?
Implementing one-click tools.
Yes.
Where?
So if a developer is using those tools, so he might face some compatibility issues or some learning curves issues,
right,
from developer side.
That's why in the start I said I wish there one-click tools are better.
Yes.
Right. It's there's no learning curve in general for most of the one-click tools. The one that I just said, photogrammetry, that has a learning curve. We have specific professionals who would do that for us, right? But I wish one-click tools just became more easier. Actually one click, rather than them being a whole process.
Yes.
Integrating one-click tools, I don't think is necessary in any platform. I think that itself is a platform to use.
Yeah.
Right? It's something like Unreal Engine or something like Unity, right? To create 3D models, something like Blender, for example, right? I think that would be better today. I think Ajna Kriti is also one of them.
Yes.
Right. So it's a platform where you can create 3D models directly, right? I think that approach is the best way possible. We should get there. We all should get there,
Yeah,
as developers.
true.
Yeah.
So let's now shift our focus bit in. We have talked about XR a lot now. Let's also discuss what is this importance of these tools in different industries. There might be some specific industries which need such tools much more.
For example, you want to create a house, right? That already exists or doesn't exist, doesn't matter, right? But if you want to create a house from scratch, that takes a long time. As I said, photogrammetry helps us reduce the time, right? Why do you want to create a house? Architectural visualization, right? Architects want to visualize what the house looks like at the end, right? Or like just in general, interior designers, right? or as I said, virtual production also needs one-click tools, similar to one-click tools. So I think these are the industries. Gaming, obviously, right? So I think these are the major industries uh, that have a lot of resources. Plus, they also need the one-click tools. Yeah.
Let's now also discuss the technology that goes behind creating these one click create rules.
Right.
So, what are some of the potential advancements in AI that we can expect?
Well, right now, as of right now, with the current trend of how AI has evolved in this sector in creating 3D models, I think we can expect more specificity, right? When I've tried tools like Ajnakriti or like Poly or any other AI toolkits out there, I've seen they've become more specific. They've become more advanced. They've become more usable. Um, and so I think that's what I can expect in the future as well. Just being more usable, just being more specific, uh, would just make a huge difference. And I think will bring a larger market into this sector. I think that would work. Yeah.
What are some of the potential areas that need some further work in terms of maybe research into these tools?
So most of these tools, right? Actually, all of the tools work on data sets, right? And I think creating a more stronger data set or creating a larger data set would just be the best thing that people can do. And I think most companies are already doing it. Creating more data sets, creating more sets of data to, or actually input to data, right, would be the best possible method. And people are already doing it. We are also doing it to create more of these arrays or maps, right, to be more specific. I think that would make it more usable. That would make it more cool.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So, before we wrap up this, I just lastly want to know from you what are some of the future trends that we can expect in this. And as we talked about earlier, as you said, that these one click create tools are still not better yet.
Right.
Yeah, and also that's what our vision is with Achna Kriti, which is a tool where developers can create 3D models from using text to 3D, image to 3D, video to 3D. So that's what our vision is as well, as we are daily working on it and improving it even more. So, what are some of the trends or evolution that we can expect into these tools, and how long is it gonna take us there?
Well, I've seen Ajnakriti, and I think it's categorized broadly in three categories. The three categories that we just spoke. I think no, two categories.
Yeah.
One is the text to 3D, right? Another one is images and videos to 3D, which is the same thing almost. I think again it comes back to specificity, right? For developers to just be more specific, uh, or like not be. I mean, the tool being able to understand what the developer actually wants without the developer being too specific about it. I think that to get there, we need more data sets again. That's where it comes back to. Feel that's what it is.
So before we wrap up, I would just also like to highlight one thing. As I came up across this news where our Prime Minister, Mr. Narendra Modi ji, recently tried a VR headset with some of the game influencers. So which just highlights the Make in India movement, and that's what our vision is with the Ajna Lens. So I just want to know your views on
Right.
finally XR taking the center stage and also getting the recognition that it deserves. So it's finally taking center stage. And so what are your views on this whole thing and also on the Make in India movement?
I'm personally not into Make in India movement, right? But XR has been my dream for the past like 10 years, 15 years, right? Since I was a kid, literally. Apple Vision Pro. If someone showed me the Apple Vision Pro like 10 years ago, I would be dead, literally, right? And today I have it in hand, and it has been a dream of mine to make it mainstream and people to be able to use it in their day-to-day lives because it actually makes their lives better, right? In medical industry or like in an architectural visualization industry or just gaming in general, it just makes our life better, right? So I love XR to be with everybody.
Yeah, because the more XR takes the center stage, the more it is, I guess, our responsibility to
Yeah.
create more awareness around XR,
Right.
so that because common people cannot know into the technicalities.
Right.
So I think that's where our work is, to create more awareness around XR as it is taking center stage.
Mhm. The learning curve is pretty hard on
Yeah.
people right now. Uh, Gamers can just get into it, but normal people getting into it is a little bit hard.
Yes.
But I think eventually we'll get there with Apple Vision Pro or with the Ajna Pro headset. We'll get there.
Yeah. Thank you for joining us here and sharing your experience and valuable insights with us on what these tools are and everything. So again, just thank you for joining us here.
Thank you for your time.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Namaskar.